Today's Lions news and rumors video is all about that. It's all surrounding our Detroit Lions. Now, I tried to make an OTA video. However, they never came an update for OTA 2s, so sorry about that last night. But for today's video, we're going to get into Rob Parker being a clown as he speaks on the Lions, and I will get into that one. Special teams, Dave Phibbs speaks. What does that mean for the Lions go forward? We're going to get to that. Trade idea 1 and 2. Media put it out there. Give you my thoughts on these trade ideas. Broderick Martin, is he the forgotten player or is he not? We'll get into that. The coaching staff on Terran Arnold, they like to take him the next step, and quarterback importance, because information coming out of Chicago. I want to reinstate why I think about the quarterback position. The most important thing is not what you think. But before we get into today's video, if you think that the Chicago Bears logo is a coincidence right here, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Why is that? Because we talk news and rumors every single day. It's all about Detroit. Let's go. To start this bad boy off, let's get into Rob Parker being a clown, because he spoke about our beloved Detroit Lions. He says, unfortunately, this is where I turn into the negative Nelly, because I think their window has opened and closed. The Lions, they blew it against the 49ers, chance in the Super Bowl. Dan Campbell blew that game for them, Parker said. Last year, don't forget that they had the best record home field throughout the playoffs in NFC. Let a rookie quarterback come in. They were 9.5-point favorites in that game and lost. Clown Parker keeps speaking. He says, if you're really telling me they're going to be back next year or this coming season, I can't buy into it, Parker explained. The division is getting better, and I think that they've lost both coordinators, so it's going to be a year of adjustment. So I think that the Lions had a nice window for 2 years. Unfortunately, it's closed. Rob Parker is an absolute and utter clown. And I have, of all the media personnel that there is out there, he is the absolute worst. I have not liked him since the 2008 season, where he makes his garbage comments. His garbage comments about everything that he says is always wrong. I don't know how this guy gets paid. He is literally the absolute worst. So since that he said that the Detroit Lions window is closed, I'm ecstatic. That means that the Lions are probably going to win a Super Bowl, because everything that this man ever says is always wrong, because he is a moron. That's just it. In the comments, give me a one-word description of Rob Parker. I can't wait to read it. Next here, we're going to talk about Dave Phibbs. He speaks to me. He says, a year ago, the touchback went at the 30, and I think, as you saw at the end of the year, the average drive started at the 29.5 or something of that nature, so there's no real benefit. If you wanted to be average, there was really no benefit, obviously, kicking the ball off and returning it, Phibbs says. But this year, if you say the average is 29.5 and the touchback is at the 35, then obviously there's statistically incentive. Phibbs continues on. He says, that's not necessarily a strength going into the season. He said, we don't want to add a whole lot to his plate, and that's going to be the kick may change throughout the course of the year. So now we're saying, okay, kick it like this, kick it like that. Okay, kick it, and then, by the way, let's do a great job kicking field goals for the first time in the National Football League. So maybe not a great formula, so we kind of stayed away from some of that to help him a little bit, to be honest with you. Look, I think that the Lions are going to be aggressive in special teams, just like Phibbs was saying. You know, there is a situation right now where it's not much of a risk, right? If you look at it, where the ball goes at, if you just kick it out of the end zone, so I could see the Lions being a little more aggressive. They have done that in special teams throughout the years, and with the new rule that implemented last year, I could definitely see that being the case. It was a transition year, as a lot of people just probably wanting to see what it was like. Brad Berryman give a trade scenario here, and he says, the Tennessee Titans aren't rushing anything to move on from the former second-round pick, at least publicly. But ever since the club's new regime spent the number over a pick on Cam Ward, the writing was on the wall. Could Brian Callahan retain the big-name youngster as Ward's backup? Perhaps, but the Titans could save $1.6 million by trading Levis by June 1st, whereas a trade release prior to June 1st that have only saved the franchise $600,000. Brad suggests that the Lions should make a trade for Will Levis. This makes no sense to me. The Lions have Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen. Hendon Hooker was drafted in the same draft as Will Levis. Will Levis is butt cheeks. Why would you trade Hendon Hooker, get rid of Hendon Hooker for Will Levis? I actually think that's a downgrade. It doesn't really make any sense in the world. And now, look, I'm not going to get mad at any of these folks doing these trade ideas. I got to keep it a buck with you. I'm going to do it behind the scenes and give you a little bit of reality of how content creation works. When a lot of these guys, they have bosses and they're told to give ideas that's realistic, whether it be trade ideas or sign in free agency. That's how the back works. So a lot of these guys are giving this task, and so they tried to give trade ideas that's most realistic, even though they potentially don't even believe that's going to be the case. That's why when I come out here, I generally like to say, here's an idea that's put on the news outlet, and I'm going to tell you the possibility of this. So when I look at the Will Levis trade situation that was put out today by this article, I give this a 0.001% chance of happening because it just doesn't make really any logical sense from a franchise standpoint. It just doesn't. Go ahead and like that video. Why is that? Because if you like it, I will apparently get younger. So go ahead and like the video so I can turn 39 instead of 40 like I did a couple days ago. Let's go ahead and continue on. There's a couple more things talking about in regards to trade ideas. Now, again, another article came out here, and it was 3 trades by A to Z Sports. Again, this is the same situation. I didn't really want to spend too lot of time on these 3 trades. Just give you my thoughts on it. One of the trades, it says Lions get Odafe Oweh. Ravens get a 4th round draft pick. The Lions getting a player to help this defense out a little bit. Here's the thing about the Lions doing this. First off, it just doesn't make sense right now for the Lions to make a trade right now. Why is it? We already traded away 2 third-round picks. So for next year's draft, we already don't have 2 third-round picks. Do you think that the Lions then are going to give up another 4th-round pick? I don't think that's going to be the case to get Odafe. I just don't see that's being the case. Okay. The next trade scenario that he has here it's the 2 same teams is the next 2 players because obviously the connection to the New Orleans Saints, right? And this one here is Foster Moreau. Saints get a 6th round pick. It's an interesting if the Lions wanted to go this route, but we already got a good spot for the offense, right? We're already really good there with tight end. We're already good there. Doesn't make any sense. Doesn't really make any sense. I think it was just kind of put out there, right? It is something just to at least talk about. The next one here is Cam Jordan. Trade for a 6th round pick. Obviously, you're getting your defensive player, right? Cam Jordan we all know about him. He's a leader, blah, 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 New Orleans Saints. That would be intriguing, right? Cam Jordan's actually a leader of men. I think a lot of people would probably like this trade, to be honest with you. I may actually like this trade. I think this would probably be a logical one. I don't see it happening, though, because we already gave up a lot of trade assets before the NFL trade deadline. Now, maybe if they're wanting to do a trade, it wouldn't be for a draft pick. Maybe it's a player swap. You look at the New Orleans Saints right now, and they're a mess. They're not going anywhere this year, right? They got a lot of rebuilding, so maybe they would do like a player swap. I don't know, maybe like a Broderick Martin or something of that nature, right? Or some player that's in the back end if they wanted to do that. For a team like the Detroit Lions, they're trying to win now. So, getting an experienced veteran would benefit Detroit right now instead of hanging on to a player like, say, Broderick Martin, who, in my opinion, is not even going to make the team this year. And we're going to actually talk about him next really quick. So, of all the trades going on, and I don't see, this could maybe be, like, if they wanted to do this, I would approve this trade of all the trades that we went on here. This would be the most beneficial trade because he could help us win now. And it's not going to, he's an older, longer in the vet tooth, all of that lovely stuff. And then we could unload one of our own players that we may not like. So I got a question for you. Would you make any of these trades that we just talked about? The 4 trades, the 1 we did before and the 3 that we just discussed right now. T for trade or P for pass? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Let's talk about this because an article came up talking about Broderick Martin, that nobody's talking about him. I have been talking about Broderick Martin on this channel for a while. I was told in season during the 24 season that he potentially was not going to make the team already. We get Tyleik Williams. We see Roy Lopez. I do not believe he's making the team, and I've been talking about it. And I'm going to keep talking about it because this is something, we talk about Hendon Hooker a lot, and a lot of fans talk about Hendon Hooker. We don't talk about Broderick Martin. Hendon Hooker we didn't trade for. Broderick Martin we do. Hendon Hooker gets a lot of grief. Broderick Martin doesn't get talked about enough. And I like to do the comparison because one, we had to give up assets, and the other one we didn't. One gives us value as a backup, and the other one literally hasn't done anything. So I've been talking about it, and I think that he will not be on the team this year. Next article talking about, actually he's talking about Caleb Williams, but I want to go in here and not talk about Caleb Williams. I want to talk about the importance of the quarterback position. Everybody talks about they want their quarterback to have the mobility. They want the best accuracy. They want a great arm. They want all of these physical traits. And I'm going to tell you, the number one asset that I want in a quarterback is their mentality. Because you look at Caleb Williams, he's a diva. He didn't want to go to Chicago. He didn't want to go there. Like, you get these quarterbacks that are divas, and it affects their franchise for a long time. I don't care about traits. If you got a guy that whines and cries all the time, how is he going to lead men? Quarterback position's got to lead men. He has got to be the face. And this is something I love about Jared Goff. No matter what you want to say about Goff, he is exactly that. He is the epitome of that, right? He's a leader of men, and he will lead a franchise. He is the first one in, last one out. Never blames his team. Doesn't whine about getting traded, about going to a team. That's the truth. So I just wanted to put that out there. Folks, we're going to be doing another video today. I don't know when it's going to happen, but we'll do it in a couple hours for sure. I don't care about OTAs this time. I waited and waited yesterday. Never came out. Video will be done today. So with that said, folks, adios.